Hello, today I thought we could make a lovey-dovey card, maybe for Valentine's or just to tell somebody that you're thinking of them. So I've gathered some supplies and I'll just go through them in case you want to do this along with me, or you can just grab a cup of tea and relax and have a look. So this is Penny Black stamp, Sweet Surrender. This is the one I've chosen to use today. My VersaFine Onyx Black ink pad, because we're going to be using water-based pens. This is a set of sentiments which are quite lovey-dovey. We'll choose one of them. Some paper. This is Dear Lizzie Lucky Charm. I've had this a while, so I don't know if it's still available. I've chosen a couple of sheets from the paper pad. A card blank. I think this is 6. Wait till I just get a ruler and I'll tell you what we are. We are, get it up the right way around, centimetres. It's 14.5 centimetres square, and inches it's nearly 6, one notch off 6 inches. So a card base, some textured white card stock, some watercolour paper, some pens, some water-based pens, and we will use some square dies and probably the heart-shaped die. So that's what we're going to use today. So remove everything that we don't need at the moment out the way, and we're going to stamp. I'll just get a sheet of this out. I'm going to fussy cut the stamped image, so I don't need to be particular about what we're going to, what shape we can stamp on. Usually I would maybe have a wee spare piece of watercolour card, but I looked about and I didn't have any, so a new sheet it is. So we make sure that's nice and covered, and we'll just stamp this, press down nice and hard, as hard as you can. These Penny Black wooden mounted stamps are usually pretty good. Yeah, so there we are. So we've got that, and we'll just reach for a napkin or something, a bit of kitchen roll to sit it on. Because what I find is it's easy to copy the colouring from the stamp, makes it nice and easy and you don't need to think about it. So here I have some water-based pens. These are Zig Clean Colour Real Brush pens. So we're going to need this flesh colour, and we're going to need a little bit of pink for his cheeks, and we're going to need some grey. That's the blue grey. There's the darker grey, and there's a lighter grey. And perhaps the black. So that's the colours we're going to need. So I know that I don't need water for this colour because it is very pale. But we'll just, yeah, see how it's really quite pale. So we don't need water, we can just, what we'll do, doesn't need to be over the edge. We might actually add a little bit of brown to this, just to, because it is very pale, this flesh colour. So let's see if we've got, that's not the right shade that I'm wanting. There's a lighter brown, and we'll do this, and we'll add some water just to get it quite pale. Check it. Yep, that's fine. So we're just going to, yes, that's a better colour than the flesh colour. So quite loose. Just, you can see there that they've left white bits. So that's what we'll do. And we'll just, and we'll perhaps leave that to dry just now, and then put another second layer on. We'll give his coat a first little start of grey. And then we'll add the darker grey, but the darker grey we'll add with the water just to make sure it's not going to be too dark. And again, we don't have to be too careful. We can just build up the watercolour. I think we'll go for a little bit darker with the black. And you can see how it's building up the colour. We'll add a little bit of pink to his cheeks. That's very pink. Let's see if there's a red. Maybe a better kind of pale rose. That might be a better colour. Yes. In fact, I think we'll maybe add a little bit of that pale rose to his other bits, just round the edges a bit. And then we'll just use plain water just to blend that in. Maybe add a little bit of the darker brown just to give a little bit of texture there. And a little bit more of the grey around the edges. And for a final bit of definition, we'll just go straight in with the black and just blend where that meets there. I've got a little bit of grey on his chin I don't want, so we can use a dry brush with a little bit of care. We can just blend that away. There we are. Quite pleased with how that is. Right, so let's do these hearts. So that's the colouring done, and we will just put those pins back in there and see how that goes with the paper that we've chosen. Yep, that's fine. Still a wee bit grey there. Okay, good. Wipe that away. So, like I said, I'm going to fussy cut the hedgehog. I know that that means we won't get his whiskers, but you know, we won't notice so much. So, a quick fussy cut around, leaving perhaps just a little bit of the edge. It's easier when you're fussy cutting to move the paper on the card rather than move the scissors. I do quite enjoy fussy cutting. I think it's quite relaxing. A lot of people don't like to do it, and if you don't like to do it, then you can just use your dies and cut out a circle or a square and make them the focal point. But I do think it actually, what I find is it helps with the placement of where I want the image to be, rather than always having to be in a circle or a square. Or so there we are. That's him. He looks quite jolly. And we'll have these 3 little hearts to cut out. Make the paper smaller and it'll get on better. It's a wee bit fiddly, but it'll be worth it when we see the finished card. Hopefully, fingers crossed. And last one, and then we can get on with doing the background pieces. tidy that one up a wee bit. Like that. So we'll put them up there in a safe place because they'll get lost. And we will think about how we want this to look. So I was thinking that here's our card blank, that I would want the dark colour on the back, and then the pink on the front. With a heart-shaped white piece. I think that's what we'll do. So I'm going to die cut these two using, well, let's start with the smallest piece first. So we'll pick out a heart. So let's pick out what size heart the hedgehog wants to sit on. Does he want to sit on this size? Or does he want to sit, I think he wants to sit on this size. I think he wants a bigger heart. Yeah. So he'll be wanting to sit on that. So, yeah. So this size, and then this next one up. Won't give much of a border. What's this one? Maybe this one, and maybe so maybe that one and maybe that one. Yes. So we'll do the dark using this one, and the spots using this one, and the white card using the heart. So I'll just pop over to the die cut machine and I'll be back in a second. I'm back with my die cut pieces, and while I was at the machine I decided to use these dies for the centre of the heart that I die cut using these. These just cut the holes, they don't actually cut out a heart, but unfortunately I haven't written. Usually I write on the back because I throw out the packaging. I write on the back what the dies are, but I have no clue. I think they might be my favourite things because I was buying quite a lot of dies from them at the time. So I don't know, but if you searched for heart shaped with, I don't know, holes, borders, you probably can find them. It just adds another wee bit of texture and to the heart. Okay, so we're ready to put this together, and we can place that like that, and the heel probably go there, and then I've got my 3 little hearts to place round about there. So that's how it's going to be looking before we decide which. So this is Technique Tuesday. I've had these a long time. It's called I Like You. I don't know if they're still available. And I was thinking I would do You Are Pretty Much the Best Ever. You are pretty much the best ever, and probably I will cut this once it's stamped to fit here. Pretty much the best ever, and we'll do it in 2 pieces. So we'll stamp it on to just the other side of the texture. If I stamped it on the texture card, it might not come out quite as well as on the plain side. So we'll just stamp it here, and I just need to reach on my stamp pad and stamp this. Like that. And I'll just cut that with the trimmer. And we'll just pretty much the best ever. And that fits on there quite well. So I think, and I quite like things that overlap the edges. It adds another wee bit of interest. So we can go ahead now that we're happy with where everything is, and we can go ahead and stick all that down, and I'll see you in a minute. That's us all stuck down. I stuck the background down with some all-purpose sticky glue, and I popped the heart and the hedgehog and the sentiments up with foam pads. The hearts were too big, too small for the foam pads, so I just cut some foam pads in half and just use half of a foam pad. So that's us. That's me sorted for Valentine's, and yeah. So thanks for watching today, and I'll see you again soon. Bye for now.